Well, I'm out today on the blue bike, Vincent, and the sun is shining, so I'm off to the seaside. I've had to change my route to the seaside because one of the roads I use has been closed for about 4 months for flooding. And I don't know if it's dried out yet, but I went down there a couple of days ago and the road closed signs are still up. But in general, the roads are just an absolutely appalling state. Don't thank me, twat. And the roads are so busy. A number of times I'm on little farm tracks and I have 6, 7, 8 cars coming towards me. There's a part of the A48 that I cross and I just decided there's no way you're even going to attempt to get across there. So I get off the bike and there's a roundabout, so there's an island in the middle, and I just walk with the bike to the island and then wait for the traffic again, go over to the other side and get back on. And last Saturday I just stood there and stood there and stood there until eventually somebody stopped, flashed his lights for me to cross. But it's 2 lanes. And while he's waiting for me, even though it's a roundabout, Mercedes comes roaring past him, stands on the brakes, and that got me to the middle. And then I waited and waited and waited until eventually somebody coming the other way also stopped. But the car behind slammed on the brakes and hooted. And if those cars hadn't stopped and waited for me, I would have been there for hours. There's been petition after petition, people asking for a pedestrian crossing there, but for some unknown reason the council simply refuses. So as I said, I'm off to the seaside today and I'm going there because it's quite an easy ride and I've got commitments this afternoon, and so I'll just go and take it easy. But I didn't want to not ride because, well, look at the weather. And unfortunately, it's a route that I use quite often, and so regular viewers would have seen it many times, and I apologise for that. And you might think that I just ride the same routes all the time, and there are some routes which I avoid, obviously because of the steepness of the hills and one thing and another. But I do ride a fair few routes, and I do try new routes. And I tried a new route on Monday. Oh, it was lovely. Morning. And I don't normally film when I'm on a new route because, well, I like to concentrate on where I'm going and the road surface that I'm not familiar with, all of that kind of thing. But I will do a video up there. I'll take you up there to see. It's just the most amazing. And it was one of those I wanted to try for a while, and and I think, well, should I? What if there's long, steep hills and things? And anyway, that's just me. So I went, and I went up there, and it was just spectacular. The views were just absolutely wonderful. And I just thought, I wish I'd done this before. And obviously, some routes that I do take that have long hills, I don't film on those purely and simply because, well, you don't want to hear me panting like an Alsatian. But wow, what a route. And while I was going along, there's quite a long climb. And there was somebody standing next to his van. He was about to get in and he sort of stood by the door waiting for me to pass. As I went past, it really amused me because he shouted, "Wow, no battery on that!" And that sort of amused me because it's interesting how many people see an old bloke on a bike and assume it must be an e-bike. Not that I've got anything against e-bikes, my wife has got one. And my brother is in the process of deciding which e-bike to buy. So he's been asking me for advice and it's really difficult because he's in South Africa. And some brands that are seen here as good value, over there are seen as premium, and vice versa. And it's also difficult because I don't know what the support is like. The bikes are expensive. You want to know that the bike you buy, they'll fix if something goes wrong with it. My brother's 62 years old. I don't even know if he's ridden a bike since we were kids. So I think it's great that he's going to get back out and start riding. He's also looking at a mountain bike because roads in South Africa are not really very good to ride on. I mean, traffic's bad here. People are impatient. People hate cyclists. But in South Africa, the standard of driving is appalling. There really are no rules. It's every man for himself. Look at this. This is what passes for a road in Britain. For somebody who grew up in Johannesburg, I still feel it's such a privilege to be able to get to the seaside on my bike. From Johannesburg, the nearest seaside is an 8-hour drive or an hour's flight. And whenever I go out on a new route, I'm incredibly apprehensive. I'm definitely a what-if person. What if the hills are too steep? What if the road surface is too bad? I do have a condition known as mission completion bias. So, whereas somebody else would just turn back if the road got too bad or the hills got too steep, I feel like I have to finish the course if I've started it. And then you go out on a new route and then you think, wow, I wish I'd come here before, it's lovely. Sometimes I tried another new route on Tuesday and it was fine. There were two quite big hills. Well, one of them extremely steep hill that I've been thinking about doing for probably a year, thinking I probably couldn't do it, and eventually I decided, come on, just go and try. And turn round if it doesn't work out. And so I did. And I made it up the hills. And there was a huge sense of satisfaction, but it's not a route I'll ride again. Not because of the hills or anything, but just when I finally got there, well, it's not particularly scenic, it's not particularly interesting, and there was quite a lot of traffic on the second part of the route. And the one I went on Monday, up in the Vale of Glamorgan, I might as well have been on a cycle path. I rode all the way through the Vale. I rode all the way through the Vale and didn't see a car the whole time. Well, I mean, parked cars, obviously. So that's my plan for this year. Try and ride some more routes and try and tackle the ones that I've been afraid of. Because when you do get up there and you run along, you see some of the most wonderful scenery, great cycling routes, and you think, oh, should have done it before. I mean, this is a route or a road that I was afraid of. Came up here for the first time last year, and it's lovely. I don't think I'd really want to come up here on a road bike. I mean, it is a tarmac surface, but it's in incredibly poor condition and covered by a lot of gravel. But hey, that's why I ride a gravel bike. If you've got any tips for riding new routes and overcoming the apprehension, let me know in the comments. And if you like this video, hit the like and subscribe button. I'm not very good at saying that, but it is something that all other YouTubers say, so I guess it must have some effect. And while I'm out discovering new routes, I do feel privileged that I live in a place with so many nice places to ride. As you hear today, it's like a traffic jam. And look at these views. And I'm only 1.5 miles from home here. Oh, see, this road still hasn't dried out.